Oh, you poor sweet summer child.
This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for X and Pearl. And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. Follow the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. Follow Daniel at DStarSick on Twitter.
Ryan is at Darth Damio on the Bluebird app.
You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for links to our Facebook group and Discord server. Enjoy our horror gaming content on YouTube. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon.
Finally, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.
Welcome to a very special bonus episode of The Horror of Babylon, where we are discussing Pearl by Ty West. I'm Ryan, and with me as always is Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
And we do not have to discuss our origins with this film because we saw it literally on the very first day it was available to the public.
Yay!
Yay, we're nerds.
Yeah, we're on top of things for a change.
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
So jumping into background, the way that this was described to me, but I was unable to actually verify this anywhere online, was that this movie was made from leftover budget from X. But I looked and looked online and I couldn't actually find that in print anywhere.
Couldn't find it in print anywhere?
No.
Weird.
Granted, I didn't exactly spend hours.
Yeah.
So that may be what happened, but it is a prequel to the film X by Ty West, which was released in 2022, earlier this year. It will be followed by a sequel to X, Maxine, which we will discuss in more detail later. That was announced at the 2022 Toronto International Film Festival showing of Pearl, and it's currently in production. Now, back on Pearl, this film was directed and edited by Ty West, as was X, and the film was written by Ty West and Mia Goth. Ty West began writing the script for Pearl during the production of X, and the origin of Pearl was the backstory that he as the director and Mia Goth as the actress came up with an origin story for Pearl, just to give her motivation and stuff while she's acting. They came up with this collaborative story about what her life was like, and then they were like, man, maybe we should fucking turn that into a movie too.
Yeah.
It was filmed in New Zealand back to back with X. They went from one production directly into the second, and a teaser trailer for Pearl was inserted at the end of X, which I did not know about, and you had me sit through the credits and watch.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a joke.
And then I did it again to you here.
Turns out neither of them were jokes. This film premiered at the 79th Venice International Film Festival on September 3rd, which was just 13 days ago from the time of recording. And so far, it's a critical success. I say this every time before I quote it. I hate Rotten Tomatoes, but just to give you guys an idea of how it's being perceived, it had an 85 on Rotten Tomatoes earlier today.
That's still pretty good for a horror movie.
That's pretty high.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
for any movie.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump into structure and themes, and I think we're going to talk about the style of this film compared to X, and then we'll talk about some of the themes. And I want to kick us off by reading a quote on an article I read. The filmmaker, being Ty West, stated that he intends each film in this franchise to have its own distinct style and genre of horror. Describing his approach to each movie, he stated that X was heavily influenced by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise and by the works of Mario Bava, which explore how the rise of independent filmmaking affected society, while Pearl would be a melodrama meets the Technicolor style of Mary Poppins and the Wizard of Oz, made as a demented Disney movie and based on the works of Douglas Sirk, and will explore how Hollywood filmmaking has influenced people. West stated that he intends to continue this trend, exploring diverse styles and genres in future installments.
I think we both came out of the theater and were like, that kind of looked like Wizard of Oz.
And it was very intentional.
Yeah. I thought it was even too bright.
It was jarring.
Yeah, it's very stylish, it's very intentional, and if you enjoy that, I'm not going to knock you, but I wasn't too crazy about it.
I think that it wouldn't have been as bad if it wasn't the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
As I was pondering this while I was supposed to be working today, I was thinking about The Wizard of Oz, and I don't know how recently you've seen that movie, but the first 20 to 30-ish minutes are in black and white, and then when Dorothy gets to the Land of Oz, suddenly everything is in color.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a cool parallel would have been to move up the audition scene in Pearl to earlier in the film,
mm-hmm.
and kind of have the first part of it in like duller, grittier colors, and then kind of have the audition be her triggering event to actually start killing people, and then have that part of the movie being these bright, obnoxious colors.
Yeah.
It would have been less jarring, less overwhelming to have the entire movie in these like obnoxious colors.
You know what I was kind of thinking? And this is...
No, I don't. Tell me.
Probably a horrible example is to do something like Schindler's List with the red coat.
Yeah.
But have all the blood be in like super audacious red, everything else in black and white. Probably how I would have gone about it.
I was actually thinking that black and white could have been a choice for this movie.
Especially given like the time period it was sort of set in and based on movies around.
It was sort of similar to The Call of Cthulhu from the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society. Could have been black and white. I guess the issue there is like a studio would probably never sign off on a black and white major motion picture.
At least not yet. Maybe if this stays a franchise for a while and it keeps making the money, they'll be able to get away with more and more and more.
Yeah.
Which I already think they've gotten away with a lot.
They have. I'm same boat as you. I appreciate the artistic choice and you know the, I don't want to say accomplishment, but I appreciate the choice. It was a little much watching a full 90 minutes of it.
Yeah. I keep coming back to this. There's just this one pipe when she was in the back alley that was bright pink. And all I could think of is, why is that pipe bright pink the whole time I'm sitting there and she's talking to the projector dude?
Yeah.
This movie also sort of reminded me, like, it looked like or it was at least filmed like a Hitchcock movie. It gave me very big Psycho vibes.
Yeah.
Especially the ending with Pearl staring and...
Minus it actually shows a lot of the violence, whereas Hitchcock was famous for not doing that.
Not showing violence, but just in terms of like what the characters do and how they behave.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some of the themes. This movie takes place in 1918. It doesn't say specifically when, but it's before the end of World War I, which was November 11th, 1918. I kind of got the feeling it was spring or summer of that year. It takes place during the Spanish flu pandemic, and I read that X was filmed during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. The precautions that they were forced to do was heavily influential on Ty West's production of Pearl, and he decided to set it during this time period, during the Spanish flu, for that reason, so that he could include all these themes about people being paranoid about getting sick,
don't bring the
masks.
Don't bring the bug back with you.
So it had a little bit more social commentary than, I really expected to get in Pearl.
Yeah, I agree. I told Ryan at the beginning of this is probably going to be one of those episodes where he tells me a fact and I go, I agree a lot.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't going to be a 90-minute show. We're just talk about the show a little bit and rank it and get out of here.
It was It was interesting to see. It was sort of surreal to see because of how people live now. People are a lot less cautious these days.
Yeah.
I still try to be. I think I'm more cautious than the average person, but I'm probably not as cautious as Ryan here is. Probably should be. At this point, it just is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to get too deep into COVID stuff, but I mean, I look at the curtains here. We're filming this the night before we go to the Mothman Festival, which is normally like a 10 to 12,000 person event. They haven't had one in 2 years, so they don't really know what the attendance is going to be tomorrow.
I know that every hotel we looked at was booked.
I'm not planning on wearing a mask, but I am bringing a mask and keeping it in my pocket.
Yeah.
So if we get put in a corner and we're literally asses to elbows with 1,000 people, I will probably throw one on. But
yeah, remind me to pack mine.
I'm actually going to put a group of them in the car.
I'll say it. There you go. There we go. We're good.
Pornography is also not as big a theme as it is in X, but it does make a return.
I was expecting it to be, like, just from the trailers, I was expecting it to be a bigger plot point. Like, I was expecting the projectionist to try to, like, coax her into doing it, and that's what made her snap or something.
I was expecting more. I thought what we got was cool. I like the scene where he shows her this stag film from France.
You can find stag films like this all over Europe.
I would certainly watch you in one of these movies.
Man, you're so smooth.
Another theme in this film that I was kind of surprised about is mental health. And you kind of get to see... You never get, like, a label for her because, obviously, it's 1918. But you really get to see her, like, analyze herself and continually ask, is there something wrong with me? Why am I acting differently from other people? You get to see those... Oh, what's the word? The Patrick Hockstetter, the sociopathic tendencies of, like, torturing and killing small animals for the pleasure of it. I was kind of surprised by all that.
Yeah. And of course, you know, not everyone with mental health issues turns violent. I work in forensic psychology. I could tell you so many horror stories, but I won't because I'll go to jail for violating HIPAA.
Yeah.
So, and I've had a couple patients that really kind of reminded me of Pearl. So,
she's a fun girl.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pearl, let's jump into characters.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
They're coming to get you, Barbara. Of course, we're going to start off with our titular character and our only returning performer from X, Mia Goth, who plays Pearl.
She carried this movie.
She really did. Honestly, the whole cast is good. They all did a good job, but she's really the standout. She played 2 characters in the previous movie. She helped write this movie as well as come up with a concept for it. And then she's basically in every scene of this movie, and really, like Daniel says, just carries it. She is just super impressive.
She obviously cares about this character. I'm sure a lot of actors care about making a good movie, but she really cares about making this movie as good as it can be.
And which is funny because this isn't, you know, like the typical movie that you would see people get invested. It's not something you would think of as a passion project.
It's not an art house movie.
No, and even like I remember, watching all the behind the scenes stuff for Obi-Wan, and people just like, this is what I always wanted to work on. This is what my life's work is. But I was looking at her IMDb list, and I have seen nothing she's in except for X and Pearl.
Yeah. I've been meaning to watch Suspiria forever, and I just keep not doing it. It's a remake of a movie about a dance studio that goes wrong. So, but I haven't seen the original, and I can't watch this one until I watch the original. I'm weird like that.
Chloe Grace Moretz and Tilda Swinton.
Oh, yeah. It has a great cast, dude.
Yeah, I love both of them. And Mia Goth, of course. So yeah, maybe we'll do a bonus episode on those 2 movies.
Yeah.
So many movies. Oh my god. So here's the original Suspiria from 1977, the best year that ever there was.
Who was president?
Jimmy Carter. But that's not why.
Okay, I just...
He won the 76 election, and then he lost re-election against Ronald Reagan in 1980.
You're my history buff, so anytime I hear a year, I'm just gonna be like, who was president?
I used to be able to name all of the presidents in order.
Mm-hmm.
I literally have not tried.
I can't wait till we do Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Maybe the pre-show for that one, I'll try and name all the presidents in order.
Okay.
If we remember, we probably won't, but...
I have lots of bonus question ideas for that one. Like, what president would you put against what mythological thing? We can't do FDR versus werewolves.
Yeah, that's been done.
In a far superior film. Yeah, Mia Goth, I love you.
Yeah, she's great. Next, the projectionist, which I didn't realize he didn't have a name until I was looking at the IMDb page, but he's played by David Cornsweet, who I'm not familiar with.
Cornsweet?
Yeah, Corin. It's Corin Sweat.
Oh, I thought you said corn sweat. Like
Corenswet.
Okay.
Corn Sweat? I don't know. But, I mean, yeah, he was fine. He was serviceable.
Yeah. I think that's the worst part for just some of these things is I'm going to be like, it was serviceable.
It was fine.
Yeah. I expected him in the Stag films and stuff like that to be like a bigger part of what was going on.
I expected him to pressure her into sex or maybe try and rape her, and he didn't do either of those things.
Yeah. Which I guess is fine because that puts all of the guilt onto the actual villain.
Yeah. Which Pearl definitely is. I mean, you can say, well, she's sick, but I mean...
That doesn't change the fact that she murders people because she gets a little upset.
Partway into this movie, I was thinking, like, she's eventually going to go nuts and start killing people. But who's she going to kill aside from her mom and dad? They need more characters in this for her to kill. And then, like, oh, the projectionist. All right, and then Ruth, her mom, played by Tandy Wright, she did a pretty good performance. She
could whisper German to me all day.
I think she really put me in a Carrie's mom, Carrie White's mom vibes, like that.
Yeah.
Overprotective mom.
The only thing that I would say in contrast to that is she was very obviously aware of the shit that was wrong with her daughter. But it's 1918, so it's not like you have a mental health professional you can call or take her to.
It's not like you see self-help commercials before every YouTube video in 1918.
Yeah, you can't subscribe your daughter to BetterHelp.
They literally commit women with these issues to institutions, and they spend the rest of their lives there for these things.
They commit women that don't have any actual issues for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and any children they have get committed, and
I think that's one of the areas where I'll call the film clever. Is like it's aware of that. It's like the mom knows she can't just take this girl to a doctor, but the mom's also very well aware of the weird shit her daughter's doing, even though the daughter thinks everything's secret. It's like we like to think we're clever when we're kids, but then our parents are like, oh, we know where you hid your porn. You know, stuff like that.
Note that I had on the mom is that now that I'm a parent, like, she was a bad woman. She did some bad things. But not all of the words she said I disagreed with. And, like, if I saw this movie when I was in high school, I would hate this woman.
No, even me. Like, I've only ever had, like, a stepson and some, like, kids of girlfriends and stuff. But even so, I think that has given me enough experience to where when I always use the Malcolm in the middle mom as the example. When you're a kid, you hate the mom. When you're an adult, the mom is the hero of that show.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And obviously, like, this mom made some poor decisions, but I don't disagree with her when she's like, you know, you got to make the best of what you have. You got to, you know, put the work in and put the time. Appreciate the sacrifices that we've made for you, and blah, 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 blah. But yeah,
like I'm literally caring for your sick father, and you live here rent free.
The mom is saddled with a husband who cannot work because he's been strucken down with the Spanish flu, and a daughter who has mental issues for which she can receive no help.
On a farm that no one wants to work on because they're German during World War I.
And the farm hands that they did have gone off to war.
Yeah. So,
like, she's really in, like, almost the worst position she can be in, and she's kind of making it work until it doesn't.
Until it does. I think that's a good line for this movie. Everything was fine until it wasn't.
I don't blame this woman for having a breakdown and start screaming at her kid. Should she have done that? No,
but I understood.
Yeah, completely.
I felt that scene.
Okay, so Pearl's father, who also has no name,
funniest character in the movie,
played by Matthew Sunderland. Every facial expression he made at her, like he was totally terrified, was so funny. When she is going to dump him into the alligator lake. And the mom shows up and stops him. His face is so scared, and it is so funny. I absolutely love it.
I'm going to be honest. If I was like that, I'd want you to kill me.
But not with an alligator.
Not with an alligator. Like, inject a bubble into my IV. I guess they didn't have that, but...
I think he got off easy with the pillowcase, but we'll talk more about that.
Comparatively speaking.
Yeah. Okay, and then Mitzi, Pearl's sister-in-law, played by Emma Jenkins Purro. This was her first film.
Really?
And I really think she did a good job. Obviously, she's not as big as a standout as Mia Goth, but the scene where Pearl confesses everything to her, and then she's like trying to leave, I thought she did a fantastic job there.
No, I'm not gonna tell.
I'm not gonna tell you. She didn't panic. She didn't try to want to run away. She didn't turn her back on Pearl like she was trying to like back out of the room. She was like doing smart things. And then, of course, when she got out of the house, it all turned to shit. But
yeah,
I mean, I really enjoyed that. And then our last character is the husband, Howard, played by Alistair Sewell. I fucking love Alistair. That's just like the coolest name.
Thank you, Dragon Age.
Thank you, Dragon Age is what I was thinking.
I always say if I have a son, it's between that and JoJo are the top two names.
Please go with Alistair.
Well, it would be Jonathan Joe, because my grandfather's name was Jonathan, and my mother's middle name is Joe. So that's how I sneak it in there.
I'll kill you all! I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all! I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Let's jump into scary shit. First, I want to compare the two movies, and then I want to talk about like all the individual kills. For you, X or Pearl, which was scarier? Were both scary? Were neither scary? What are your thoughts?
I think X was scary. I don't think anything scared me in Pearl. A lot of it, there were points where I was visibly cringing. Like, it was hard to watch.
Mostly it was gross things.
Yeah, and I also, like, was visibly uncomfortable after her audition didn't go her way.
Screaming.
But Mia Goth acted like a
12-year-old girl.
Perfectly.
Yeah, she is...
I was like, that is an actual tantrum, and I don't want to watch it.
Watching her in this movie reminded me of when we saw Owen Teague as Harold Lauder in The New Stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just so good.
But nothing really scared me in this movie. A lot of the kills and a lot of the scares you could see coming from a mile away. The closest thing that was to tension building was when she took her dad down to the alligator.
Yeah.
Past that, like, X had a few things that I found genuinely scary.
But not like a really scary movie.
Yeah. And it had more like traditional jump scares. Mm-hmm. Like with the stinger sound that I hate.
Yeah.
But it had a few of those. It had a few, like, let me build tension moments, like Mia Goth hiding under the bed while two old people fuck, and she's like, let me get the fuck out of here. Because waking up next to, like, an old, demented person would freak me the fuck out.
Yep.
So I'm going to say that X was scarier. This was more... The word cringy kind of comes with negative connotations, but I feel like the intention was to make me uncomfortable in the scenes.
There were definitely cringy moments, and uncomfortable is a good way to describe the movie. I definitely think X was the scarier of the two, but I didn't think either were particularly scary.
Yeah.
It was more... Honestly, both of them to me felt more like horror comedies.
We laughed a lot in this movie.
Granted, we were laughing at some things that probably that wasn't the intention.
Yeah.
But like the stuff that got me the most wasn't like the scares or the kills. The thing that got me the most in this movie was that fucking pig covered in maggots.
I like that it just progressively got worse through the movie.
By the time she put it on the table, I literally couldn't look at it. I like had to cover my eyes.
Did you notice that when Howard came home, it was eaten?
Yes. Yes, I did. I think that was the first thing I said when the lights went up. I can't believe she fucking ate that pig. Oh my god, that is... Ugh. I mean, I know, like, maggots are extra protein, but come on. Oh my god.
Ugh. Dude, if I see a maggot or mold, I throw up.
I know. Like,
mold is one of, like... I don't like to say that I'm a sensitive dude, but those are two of my things.
No, our garbage didn't get picked up once in July, I think, and so we had bags sitting in the garbage can for an extra week, and when I went to add more, there were maggots in the garbage can, and I just like, oh, that's something I can't handle. And I don't know why. It's unreasonable, but
It is what it is, dude. I'm there.
yeah. Oh, okay. Let's talk about some of the kills. The mom. So,
Kind of an accident.
I know. It was. So first, let me say overall, similar complaint to X, where it's a slow burn horror, and then the kills are. I don't want to say they're tame, but they're more on the tame side.
Yeah, I think. Oh wait, no. The first kill's the goose.
Yeah.
What are you doing here, Mr. Goose?
Poor goose.
And then she stabs it with a pitchfork.
Poor goose.
I like how close she was to the gator.
Yeah. I wish they would have done more with the gator, but I'll bring that up soon.
Yeah.
So her mom, the fire. I thought the most brutal part of that was she threw her mom down the stairs twice.
Yeah, like she threw her down once, and then when her mom crawls back up, she takes her back down.
I would have given up after the first time. I would have laid there and died. You're covered in burns, and your daughter literally hurls you down a flight of stairs. Like,
I love that during the dance audition, she saw her burned mother as one of the judges.
yeah, that was. I mean, because
I told you weren't good enough. Perhaps if you were a Nazi.
I love the
Nazis weren't a thing.
World War I.
Yeah. I like to make that joke because everyone's always like, who'd we fight in World War I if we fought the Germans in World War II? I was like, it was Germany both times. You have no idea how many times I've gotten that, dude. It was Germany both times. I mean, there was more people, but...
Yeah, Germany was one of the Central Powers.
Yeah.
The next kill was almost was her dad. She wheeled him... No, that was before.
Yeah, he was going to be the first kill, because this is no way to live.
Which I agree. Like, I wouldn't want to live like that either, but I'd probably rather live like that than be ripped apart by an alligator.
You have my permission to kill me if I ever get paralyzed.
Yeah, okay. I won't do that, but, I mean,
you're the power of attorney in my will. Surprise! The look on his face right now.
You need another wife.
Even if I got one, it would still be you, because I think that'd be really funny. Pull the plug, Ryan.
Okay, so let's talk about the dad. I thought that this was super disappointing. I loved that she was going to throw him in with the alligator. I thought it was funny that the mom interrupted it, but I was hoping that she was going to bring him back down there and do it again.
I was expecting more gator. And she fed the gator, like, what's-her-face's body at the end.
It was so muted. I don't know.
I think X's best kill was when she pushed what's-her-face in the water.
I agree.
And then the gator grabbed her.
I agree. And you never really get to see... The gator literally never kills anybody. She only feeds it dead bodies.
And then it eats whatever she throws in there.
The biggest disappointment for me was that she killed her dad with a pillowcase, which they justified in the movie by saying that she didn't actually want to kill her dad. She loved her dad.
She actually kind of liked him.
Yeah, but she didn't want to see him suffer, and she wanted to live her own life.
And he was in the way.
But it's still, like, this is a horror movie. Like, I don't want to see people suffocated with pillowcases. Come on.
Something just a little more extravagant.
What did you think of the projectionist's kill?
Honestly, I was expecting more.
Mm-hmm.
It was in line with what you like. She grabbed a farm object and stabbed him.
It was fine.
It was fine. It was serviceable.
Put a fork in him. He's done.
I was expecting more like something drawn out, torturous, but that was also based off of my preconceived notions of the movie that he was going to be more of a coax her into a certain lifestyle and then she regrets it or he betrays her sort of way. Where instead it's just people slowly becoming afraid of her and she freaks out when people are scared of her.
So I wouldn't say I don't like slow burn horror, but I want it to have like a big payoff when it happens.
I need to make you watch Hereditary.
A good example of this for me that we've done on the podcast is The Only Good Indians.
That is a slow burn.
Yeah. And it's when it finally happens, it's fucking wild.
It's like 5 different slow burn stories.
And this and X are both slow burns, and the kills are fun, but they're just a little...
You just want something a little more.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 20% more.
But I'm still going to go see Maxine, so Ty West is still getting my $8.
Yeah, at this point, we're just committed.
Yeah.
This is our thing. I'm going to see Barbarian either on Sunday or Monday, so
yeah,
I'm going to let you know how that compares.
If it's Sunday, I probably won't go. If it's Monday, I might, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Unless you're going with somebody else, then
I'm not going. It's hard for me to convince anyone other than you to go to the movies.
I mean, I love going to the movies. Obviously, I don't do it as much as I did pre-COVID, unfortunately. Yeah. But okay, so the last kill we haven't talked about is Mitzi.
There was not as many kills in this movie as I was expecting.
There were 4.
Yeah.
And one of them was off camera. Her dad, you don't actually get to see her.
I was expecting like 5 or 6.
So you really only get to see 3, and not counting the goose.
This one was also fine.
It was very similar to The Projectionist, where it was
serviceable.
The most I can say about this one is they made an interesting choice with the cinematography to show like the whole chase from like the camera like moving backwards down the road.
I like that, and I like the aftermath of like disposing of the body and preparing the dinner with the parents.
Yeah.
And like everything's being mirrored. Mm-hmm. I was like, that was gross. That was fun to watch. But I think the best part about her kill was the monologue before it. Was like all the tension built up.
So that monologue, I think, was maybe like the peak of the movie.
Yeah.
I think it maybe went just a smidge long, but it was still really good. And that's Mia Goth just really got to let loose.
Yeah.
It was really great.
She shows her acting chops a lot in this movie.
Yeah. I can't suck her imaginary dick enough.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Which movie's more sexy?
I think the first movie's more sexed up.
Yeah.
Because especially with the pornographer cuck.
It's a bigger theme, and
I love watching him take a shower afterwards and cry.
However, in X, no one fucks a scarecrow.
Yeah. Watching her fuck a scarecrow, that's what one of the, like, again, the trailers made me think that sex was going to be a bigger theme, and then her fucking the scarecrow made me think, oh, okay, she's going to be lured into this lifestyle when she thinks she's going to get to dance.
Yeah. Do you think after Maxine, we're going to get a second prequel, which is about Pearl, in between Pearl and X, and like maybe she does get to leave for a bit and go to Hollywood, and then ends up coming back to the farm?
But that's actually my prediction, is it's going to be Howard trying to reel her in, because eventually we know that Howard becomes okay with killing people that fuck up on his farm.
I mean, you can only deal with that shit for so long.
This is my official prediction, is we're going to get a trailer at the end of Maxine, and it might not be labeled like Howard, but it's going to be like his descent into following her into madness, and that'll be the movie.
I can't imagine that they'll like make him the protagonist, but I can definitely see like a movie where they share the spotlight.
Yeah, where again he's following her own descent, because at this point you can either turn her in or you're committed.
Yeah, like I told you, like I would have left her while she was sleeping. Like there's no way I'm staying with her.
Oh my God, are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
King and Koontz, what is your king?
I bounce back and forth between the dinner setup, with the maggot pig and the dead bodies, and the monologue, and I think I'm going to settle on the monologue because it just shows how good of an actress Mia Goth is. Same thing with just her staring at the camera through the credits.
Yeah.
She has like 50 different emotions going through her face through all the time.
My king is actually Queen, and it's just Mia Goth.
Just Mia Goth. That was my Twitter review of this movie, is Mia Goth is a queen.
She is a queen. I'm not a big fan of the character Harley Quinn, but I hope she's the next person to play her.
She should play Harley Quinn.
No shade to Margot Robbie, but I want to see Mia Goth take on that character.
Unfortunately, we do know the next Harley Quinn, and it's Lady Gaga.
What if Mia Goth played Poison Ivy and they did like a buddy
cop comedy
with Margot Robbie and Mia Goth?
I'd watch that.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
I'd watch that too. You're Koontz, sir.
I think I'm going to settle on the saturation. It was just too much for me.
Yeah. I have 2.
You have 2 Koontzes.
I have 2. One is that she didn't throw her dad in the alligator pond. And the other is that I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than X, but it's nowhere near as quotable as X.
It is not as quotable as X.
No.
I can't remember like a single line of dialogue other than "This is no way to live," but that's such a generic line.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember lines, but even though I didn't really like X, still coming out of it, I was quoting it left and right.
Feel how hard I am.
Because it's so quotable.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you said, "What if my heart can't take it?"
Yeah, it's I remember X a lot more.
Yeah.
And maybe with following Maxine, I'll remember Maxine more. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll find out. Okay, so let's move on to rankings. I'm bringing up our TV and film list right now. Go ahead and let you... Oh, God, these are getting so long. So, The Mist at the top and Phantoms at the bottom. Oh, real quick. We are going to be releasing a bonus episode on the film Roar soon.
Yeah.
I think Roar potentially could get the bottom slot over Phantoms.
You think so?
Just after I've only watched 20 minutes of it and I stopped so we can watch it together. It is the most triggering movie I have ever seen.
Okay.
But that's a whole nother... Okay, so where would you put Pearl?
Originally, I was planning on putting it right below X, but now I'm seeing what I have below X already.
It's not better than the Call of Cthulhu.
It's not better than the Call of Cthulhu.
It's not better than it.
I do think it's better than Beast, or it's right around the Beast level.
I don't, but...
I think I'm gonna put it right above Beast.
Okay, so under it, 2017.
Yeah, I can't put Pearl above 2017 It or Call of Cthulhu.
No, I wouldn't either. Okay, so for me, I've actually already added it. It is third from the bottom.
Okay.
It's above X and Phantoms and below it, Chapter 2 and Firestarter 2022. I don't know that I would say that Pearl is actually a better film than X, but I wasn't a huge fan of X, and at least Pearl, for me, was different.
You laughed a lot during this movie, so...
And again, also, it's more on me than the movie because my expectations for this were more adjusted because I had already seen X. Mm-hmm. Where X, I don't really know what I thought that movie was going to be, but obviously I expected something different and it didn't go over well. Going into Pearl, I've already seen X and I kind of know what I'm in for, so I was able to just kind of let it go and go along for the ride, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, Zombie Day. So Easter eggs, favorite callbacks to X. When they were watching the Stag film, the projectionist said a line from X, and I can't remember what it was. I should have written it down.
God, I remember him saying something like, it'll be legal everywhere soon, or something like that, or Europe's more enlightened.
Yeah, and like she always said, like every time she said, I want to be a star, or I want to be the greatest star.
I want to be like the girls up in the pictures.
I really should have made notes for it, because there were like a lot of like callbacks to X.
You got to see like where one of the cars in the water came from.
Yeah, that was cool. Like I noticed like when she pushed the projectionist's car into the water, that car was the car that was in X.
And you know, I usually don't like prequels. I've told you this a million times.
Yeah, we're just on opposite ends of that issue where you're like, well, if I already know what happens to a character, it's harder for me to care about a story for them earlier, where me, the fucking Star Wars, Lord of the Rings nerd, I'm the opposite, but I mean, that's not a right or a wrong issue. It's just how you feel.
Yeah.
Whew, question for the listeners. Oh, which film did you like better? X or Pearl? Let us know which one and why.
Amazon Press or Mating Press?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so for further reading, I don't really have any recommendations because even though I'm not like crazy about Pearl, it's kind of unique. I can't really think of another film like it.
I would say the only thing that I can compare to it, and it's way bloodier than his work, is like some Hitchcock movies.
Yeah.
Is it's filmed in sort of the same style. You kind of get a Norman Bates-esque character arc with Pearl.
Yeah.
And I would say that those are the movies that if you haven't seen... we're horror fanatics. Mm-hmm. I'm a big Hitchcock fan, so I've seen these movies.
I like Hitchcock.
But if you're relatively new to horror, or if you're, like a baby Zoomer and you liked Pearl, then that's probably where he got a lot of his inspiration from.
Or
Ty West did.
Yeah. I love Birds. I love Psycho. Like, he's really great. Okay, so upcoming on the Horror of Babylon, next week we are kicking off Mermaid Saga adaptations with Mermaid Forest from 1991. The next week, first Sunday in October, we are doing Domu by Katsuhiro Otomo. The next week, October 9th, we are reviewing the second Mermaid Saga adaptation, Mermaid Scar from 1993. Our next book episode will be October 16th, where we are reviewing The Confederado, a Western horror tale of a Mesoamerican gore by B.L. Blankenship. And then we are wrapping up Mermaid Saga adaptations on October 23rd with Mermaid Forest 2003. That's the full anime series. And our last book episode of Season 1 will be on Sunday, October 30th. We are reviewing the highly anticipated novella Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Caw. And our last episode of Season 1 will be a bonus episode that we will release on Halloween. It's the Horror of Babylon 1-year anniversary show. And then the following week we will kick off with Season 2 of the Horror of Babylon. That's
super excited.
Super excited. Other than that, thank you, Daniel, for recording with me tonight.
It's a blast.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Stay tuned to our socials and stay scary.
Stay scary, everybody.
You suck.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. Follow Daniel at dstarsick on Twitter. Follow Ryan at Darth Damio on the Bluebird app. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. And finally, you can let your friends know that the Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Podcast Addict, TuneIn and the iHeartRadio app. Stay scary.